Have you ever wondered what makes your favorite apps feel so incredibly fast? When data just seems to appear almost before you even ask for it? Well, a huge part of that magic is a technology called Redis. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down what it is, how it works, and why calling it just a database, well, that doesn't even begin to tell the whole story.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the need for speed. Why are things still slow in the first place? Then, we'll dive into the simple, beautiful idea at the core of Redis. After that, we'll uncover its hidden superpower, which goes way beyond simple text. We'll explore its amazing toolkit of data structures, and then, at the end, I'll show you how you can start building with this stuff in literally minutes.
So, before we jump into the solution, let's really get a handle on the problem that Redis was created to solve. It all boils down to one thing that drives all of us crazy: waiting.
I mean, really think about it for a second. We have supercomputers in our pockets, right? Yet, we still find ourselves staring at those little loading spinners. What is the holdup? Well, more often than not, the bottleneck isn't your phone or your computer's processor. It's the time it takes to physically go and get the data it needs.
And this right here shows you the fundamental difference. On the left, you've got your traditional databases. They store data on physical disks, spinning platters, or even fast SSDs, but it's kind of like a library where, to get a book, you have to physically walk over to a shelf, find the book, and bring it back. That travel time, that's your bottleneck. But Redis, on the right, it's a completely different game. It keeps the entire library in its short-term memory, the computer's RAM. And accessing RAM is just ridiculously fast. It's like having every book open right in front of you all at once.
Okay, so Redis solves the speed problem by living in memory. We get that. But how does it actually organize all that information? Well, the core idea is just beautifully simple. The name itself actually gives us a huge clue. Redis stands for Remote Dictionary Server. And you can think of it just like a giant dictionary. You have a unique word, that's the key, and you have its definition, that's the value. It is an incredibly fast, incredibly straightforward way to store and get back your information. And talking to Redis is so simple, it almost feels like cheating. You're just giving it direct, simple commands. You literally say, set this key, like user1 username, to this value, John Doe. And when you want it back, you just say, get user1 username. That's it. It's that simple. So how does your application have this conversation? Well, Redis runs as its own separate server process. For quick tests and messing around, you can talk to it directly from a command line. But in a real app, your code, whether it's Python, Java, JavaScript, pretty much anything, uses a special library to connect to the Redis server and send these commands. It just becomes a seamless part of your application's backend.
Okay, so we've established it's a super fast, in-memory, key-value store. That's pretty cool, right? But that is not the whole story. Not even close. The real aha moment with Redis, the thing that makes it so special, comes when you look a little closer at the value part of that key-value pair.
And this right here, this is the whole secret. This is the crucial insight. The key is always going to be a simple string, but the value can be so much more. And this is what transforms Redis from just being a simple, fast cache into an incredibly powerful, multi-purpose tool.
Now, let's start with strings, because they're the most basic value type. But even here, Redis has a neat trick up its sleeve. Redis strings are what we call binary safe. That's just a fancy way of saying Redis does not care what you put in them. It could be some text, a chunk of JSON, a serialized object from your program, or even a tiny image file. Redis will store it, no questions asked. And you can do some really powerful things with them.
One of the most critical features of Redis is that its commands are atomic. Now, what does that mean? It means an operation, like telling a number to increment, happens all at once as a single, indivisible action. So, even if 1,000 different users are trying to update a counter at the exact same millisecond, Redis calmly lines them up and executes them one by one, guaranteeing that the final count is always correct. This completely prevents these messy problems called race conditions and makes it perfect for things like high-speed counters.
This ability to handle more than just simple strings is exactly why people often call Redis a data structure server. It's not just a place to dump your data, it's giving you a whole toolkit of specialized structures to solve very specific problems with just incredible efficiency.
So let's open up that toolkit. First up, lists. A Redis list is pretty much what it sounds like. It's an ordered collection of strings. Just like a to-do list or a grocery list where the sequence really matters. And this simple structure is absolutely perfect for building things like message queues.
And this slide shows a classic, super useful pattern. Imagine one part of your app, let's call it the producer, is adding jobs to the back of a line. Things like send this email or process this image. They just push it onto the list. Then you can have totally separate programs, the workers, that come along and grab the next job from the front of the line using LPOP. It's a simple, super robust, and incredibly effective way to handle background tasks without ever slowing down your main app.
Next tool in the box, hashes. Now, if lists are like an ordered queue, think of hashes as being like a perfect little file folder for a single object. They are the ideal way to store structured data, like a user profile.
And you can see exactly why right here. On the left is the inefficient way. Sure, you could just jam a user object into a single string of text, like JSON. But what if you only want to change the user's age? You have to read the entire string, change that one little part in your code, and then write the entire string back. It's so wasteful. Now look at the Redis way on the right. With a hash, you can update just the age field directly with a single command. It's like performing surgery instead of using a sledgehammer. It's precise and way more efficient.
Okay, our third core structure today is the set. Think of a set as just a bag of unique items. The order doesn't matter at all, and you can't have any duplicates. If you try to add something that's already in the bag, Redis just ignores it. But their real power isn't just about storing unique things. The real magic of sets is that you can offload complex logic directly to the Redis server. Imagine you have a set of hobbies for user A and another set for user B. Now, instead of fetching both of those huge lists back to your app and then writing code to compare them, you just send a single command to Redis. You say SNINTR for intersection, and Redis, at blazing speed, does the calculation and sends you back only the result, the hobbies they have in common. This is an absolute game changer for building things like recommendation engines or social features.
So we've covered the why, we've covered the what, and now for the best part. You can start playing with all of this incredible power right now, this very minute, without having to install a single thing on your computer.
Yeah, the absolute easiest way to get started is with a managed service like Redis Cloud. This means they handle all the boring server setup for you. And the best part? Many providers, including Redis itself, offer a free tier. You can usually get something like a 30-megabyte database completely for free, which is way more than enough space to experiment with every single data structure we've talked about today. And the process is usually just dead simple. It's pretty much create an account, pick the free plan, click a button. And in just a couple of minutes, you'll have a live, active Redis instance sitting in the cloud, just waiting for your commands. It's ready for you to start building.
And that really brings us to our final thought. What Redis teaches us is that data isn't just some shapeless blob of information. It has a shape. It can be a queue. It can be an object. It can be a collection of unique items. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Your data has a shape. Are you using the right tools to build with it? Because choosing the right tool, a tool like Redis, can be the difference between an application that crawls and one that absolutely flies.